Hi, on the CRYENGINE, today's video is going to be about something very special. I will be changing the, if we can look at here, we will be changing the camera from first person to third person on the game SD key. Let's see if this focuses. On the game SD key, just using these two inputs. And then we will be using the set model, which through that we will then refer to the local player, and then press a button and play a certain animation of our character. Now you might be thinking, how did you get this, right? This usually doesn't come up. So the way we get that answer is by looking here and looking here, walk loop. For example, if you can look here, just give it a second. If you can look here, I've selected this, and here is the animations, right? And these are the names that we use, and we just right click, copy name, and then we can go back to the FlowGraph, and then here we can kind of just, instead of this, we just Ctrl V, we just paste that in, and then it's done. So I want this, when I press W, I want this to start using the local player entity. Now usually this will not come up, this animation will not come up. For example, if I press this, wait, this doesn't come up, it's not in here. Because it's using the current local player, which is a person instead of a frog, of course. But here we can see I changed it to Toad, CDF. And this Toad has this animation, it's named that. And we can do this, we can all use this. It's named that, and it's over here. For example, it's walk, swim, pick up, and you got all these choices, and you can just copy its name, and then you can add that in, and it's just gonna do that. And this is the walk. Now we're going to the game SDK. I'm going to show you how this works. Sorry for the blurriness, it's just the way the phone works for some reason. So here we can just simply run, and we can look, as you can see, it's third person already. First person may crash. Did it crash? Yeah, first person crashes it. First person crashes it. I'll have to start again. I should have not done that. I should have showed you first and then done that, but never mind. Guess I'll just give it a second. Game SD key. Let's give it a second. It's amazing. You get to play the animation, and on top of that, you get to what was the first part? I forgot. You get to change the player. You get to play that player's animation and change the first person camera to the third person, because the first person camera simply crashes. Now you can't do this in the game SD key code, because you can't access the code unless you have some kind of a solution set up or nonsense, which obviously none of you are going to waste their time doing. I mean, you might want to do it, but it's just overcomplicated. It's not going to work out as well. But here today we're going to see a simple basic tutorial on how to actually use this engine. Finally. The fates shine upon me. This is awesome. All right. So we get to see something awesome. And it's going to be the frog. When you press W, it's going to just start jumping, moving forward. Now you can set it up inside the thing. You can say, for example, I want you to, instead of slowly moving forward, I want you to have 0 movement speed, except an impulse, which pushes the character forward. Now if we go here, now that this thing has opened, if we go here and open our character, it crashes when you go first person for some reason, which is unclear to me why. And we just go and open our level, and this is going to be awesome. Just got to check the flow graph and see everything is in place. I pressed F1. I pressed it. I shouldn't have pressed it, and I messed it up. So sorry for the silly little error. So everything is in place as it should be. Let me just go back in here. So we got the frog, and we press W. You can loop it. I haven't looped it, so it just stays like this. So as you can see, this works really well. And it jumps in the direction we're looking. So this is, we've got a shooting frog. Now that's awesome. Now this is working. It's working well. Oh no, I accidentally pressed F1 again. Whoops. I'm so sorry. Sorry about this weird tutorial. It's all over the place. For some reason F1 crashes the whole thing, and it just happens. But we have understood how to actually. I'll be making another tutorial. It'll be much quicker. This is kind of an excited showcase of what you can do, and it works. You got a character that changes. First of all, it goes from first person to third person. No more crashes, and then you got a character where I'll have to find out a way to disable the F1 key, and then you got a character where it using the simulation thing, and then you got a character where it plays a certain animation as you press a button. This means a wondrous thing, because this means we can set it up to play a certain animation at every given moment, at every given time, and it works beautifully. And this is a really good thing, really powerful, really beautiful. And I'll just showcase the thing even more here. And I won't mess it up. I was trying to press escape and end up pressing F1. For some reason, when you change the CDF of the character and you press F1, it just crashes for some reason. I don't know what it's doing, but we can get it to work. If we just use the right nodes in the FlowGraph, we can actually make this thing work. And it's awesome. And you can do a lot with this, and it's beautiful. Finally, something powerful. Wait. And it's not that it's overwhelming my computer, although it's a lot for my computer to handle. It's more so that there might be something, well, it might be that it's overwhelming my computer, I'm not sure. But we're just looking. And as you can see, just give me 10 seconds. Got other frogs here. They're just AI. You can drag these in from database. So tools, database, and you can kind of reference whatever you want. And you can kind of pull in characters from there. That kind of works. So if we just play, press W, and you can edit this, of course. Anyways, you got frogs here. Anyways, as you can see, it works. Plays an animation, sets the character. Oh, there's people outside. There's no shame. Undo. So you just gotta make an empty flow node and create a flow graph inside there. And here we have it. So here the way this works is simple. We start a game at game start, which is this, add a start node, and then we simulate an input, right? The F1, we simulate F1. And then we can say once it's pressed, you can disable that button so that you can't go back to first person. We have to find a way to do that. But essentially, what you do then is in the features here, feature test, you click simulate input. This will simulate an input for you. And when you simulate an input, which is this, what it will do is it will ask you, what do you want to simulate? The action. And from here, we gotta find third person. We can even enable God mode. We gotta find third person. This is all in the game SDK. Give me a second. So anyways, in the game SDK, you get to choose this, third person, and this will literally work. At start, it will just simply, at game start, it will change it to third person. It is done already. Else, my game would have crashed. Else my game would crash every time I do this. It would literally crash. Pressing escape. So, fast forward, and then from here, once this is third person, I want it to set my player model, and I have referenced the player model, which you can get from the character tool. From the character tool, we can get all kinds of we can add our own, and then we can use this animation. It's just use the name you've given it. That's that simple. It's that basic. It's that easy. But it will only work once you run the thing. So if we go here, walk tool. This is what I called it. Just whatever you call it, it will work. Then we just go back and set the CDF, which you can also acquire here. This is where I go to acquire the CDF, and then we just click here and just copy all of this and add a .cdf at the end. And well, you gotta go into Toad, and then you gotta add Toad.cdf. Sorry, you gotta add the missing piece. And there you have it. This will set the player model. This is just local player, which is in the present, which means that it's in the editor, it's a human. But once you run the game, it becomes a toad. So this becomes a toad. And suddenly this code works. This works because this associates with this at the game startup. And then you can reference a key, which is at the debug, which you can just go into here, find debug, and then input key. And then you can just simply reference it and enable it at the once it's set so that it works properly. And then you can, once it's pressed, start the animation. And you can loop it as well. And you can stop it once it's released. So you can just say release, stop the animation. So we can go into here and we can Ctrl S. You can crash the engine if you don't know what you're doing. So we can actually loop this. So if we loop it, we just go over here and loop. Take that and go over here. Look down to our frog. And now I'm just holding. Now it's moving a bit too fast for a frog, obviously. And then we release it. And just, as you can see, you can speed it up. And all kinds of things. We can do a lot with this. Now you can just do it like you can do it backwards. So when you press S, it starts moving backwards, right? It starts running backwards. And you can set the player's speed and all kinds of things. So you can just see play animation, input key, local player, set player model, and you can just set the model. Just type these in. Here you can just type it in. Here I can just say, for example, I could say swim. This better be correct, otherwise it won't play anything. Do not reference folder. This already knows where to look. It knows where to look. This animation is going to look into the animations tab over here. This is where it's going to look. And as you can see, swim loop is right here. So it's naturally, it's going to start playing that very thing. It's all natural. So if you just go here, look down, press W, swim, not the most realistic swim, but we're swimming. Nonetheless, it's swimming, swim. And as you can see, and you can even animate, so let's say it goes this way, right? When you place A and W, you can maybe somehow reference it. I haven't figured that out yet. You can reference using logic, perhaps, check both, and then start playing that certain animation. And then when you press D and S, and it plays an animation going between the A and D and A and S and whatever. But overall, this works beautifully. You don't need to select a specific animation. You can just call it whatever. You can just refer to its name. And that's all you gotta do is refer to its name. That's it. It's that basic, that easy. And that's wondrous, to be honest. That's beautiful. And use the key, W. Local player, which will be Toad once we press play because of this. And this will only enable once it is Toad, because otherwise it won't work. And then furthermore, we go over here. We simulate an F1 press, we simulate the F1, which is a third person press, I guess. And at the start of the game, we press it, and it simulates F1, and so it goes into third person view instantly. And once it is pressed, it instantaneously changes our player model to whatever we want it to be. You can just copy and paste this from the character tool, or you can go into your project files and find find your own self-added things if you struggle with the character tool. Very easy stuff, very basic. And then here at runtime, it's gonna turn into this. It's gonna check for this. It's gonna do this, and then it's gonna be like, yeah, it's ready to do whatever it needs to do. And you can set the enable it, and then at W it will play this animation. From this creature or from this entity, it will play this animation, and it will start and stop according to what you press. And the animation will be whatever you named it. So I'm gonna call this to back to walk idle. So you can have any kind of an animation, whatever you've called your animation, and you've added it into here, right? The CGAs, and you can just reference this here, and it will work wondrously and very beautifully, and very beautifully. And you can do all kinds of things, and that's just the beginning of what you can do. And you know, as you can see here, it will change to that, and we can just, and then we just does this, which is very good. And then we can tweak the speed of the player, and you can go do this in the FlowGraph as well. Very simple FlowGraph, but you need to have it like this. So very nice. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, leave it down below. I will answer them as long as I can. And yeah, good luck. If you find that you've done something wrong and it's just not working, just make sure you have done the FlowGraph right. Because if you don't do the FlowGraph right, you just have to give it just the name you've given it, just the surface name. You know, don't focus. Don't actually, you know, refer to its folder or anything like that. Just one name. That's all it asks. Just the name of this thing, and it will work. Very easy way to make things happen. And you can make a very realistic game if you just put things together like this, and you can kind of pull things off majestically in the CRYENGINE. It's beautiful. Good luck to you guys, and I hope you do the best you can to make something awesome. And good luck doing what you do. Very basic stuff, but you know, it needs to be shared because it took some fiddling to get to here. It's easy. It took me like a few minutes, but yeah, you know, a few 4 or 5 minutes. I was kind of worried that this may be a problem, but thankfully the guys at CRYENGINE have really thought about this, and they've added a lot to the CRYENGINE, and it works. Beautiful. Thank you for watching, and enjoy game developing. Good luck, and I'll be posting more things as I discover them and stuff like that. Thank you.